hauls ass, bro. Alrighty, you guys. Well, I am at a really good stopping point to go ahead and fill you guys in on what we got going on for today's video. Now, as you guys saw by probably all the previous footage up until this point, we are doing a full aeration and top dressing project on all the lawns. So as you can tell, I haven't cleaned up back here yet, so I got to go ahead and clean up all these aeration cores and get them off the lawns. Some people tend to go ahead and obviously, you know, kind of grind them up. They'll use a rotary mower, grind them up, and then keep them in the lawns. But for me, I don't want to keep dealing with this clay soil all the time, so I'm getting them off the lawns because I don't want the clay soil obviously going back in there. So that's why I'm cleaning everything up. The front yard, as you guys saw, the front yard lawns are already all cleaned up and prepped, ready for the material to go down. I am going to be using a 70-30 blend mixture material, so 70% sand, 30% compost blend material is going to be going on all the lawns. But I think I'm only going to be getting to the front yard lawn today. We'll see, depending on, you know, kind of around what time I get done, if I can go ahead and get a second batch of material or not. So we'll see how far we get. But yeah, you guys, that's the big project we got going on for today. If you are enjoying this video so far, go ahead, smash that like button for me. Drop a comment down below if you obviously have done this project before. It's definitely one of those things that's definitely labor intensive, especially if you haven't done it in a while. And as you guys probably saw, I was definitely manhandling the aerator earlier. Yeah, that thing actually hauled ass quite a bit. Like once you hit the throttle, that thing was ready to take off and go. So yeah, but yeah, we got it all done. Like I said, I'm gonna go ahead and clean this up right now. And then the next part of this video will obviously be me going ahead and throwing down the material out there in the front yard lawns with the 70-30 blend of sand compost mixture. So yeah, you guys, again, hopefully you guys are enjoying this video so far. If you are, go ahead, smash that like button, and let's go ahead and continue on with the video. Alrighty, you guys, well, that's pretty much it for today's video. As you guys saw, we went ahead and got the aeration and top dressing project done out there in the front yard lawns. Now, I did go ahead and aerate the backyard lawn, as you guys saw in the video. The aeration is done back here in the backyard lawn. However, I wasn't able to get to the top dressing portion of it, and I actually didn't have enough material to go ahead and top dress the backyard lawn. So I will be making essentially like a part 2 segment to this video, which you guys could probably expect to go out next week, because probably this upcoming weekend, by the time this video goes out, I will be top dressing the backyard lawn. So like I said, you guys can expect the part 2 segment to this video going out probably next week as far as me top dressing the backyard lawn. So with that being said, what I want to go ahead and do is kind of talk to you guys a little bit about a few steps that I would highly recommend you guys follow, especially if this is going to be your first time doing an aeration and top dressing project on your lawn. Just a few key simple steps that I would highly recommend you guys follow to make sure when you do an aeration and top dressing project that it goes as smoothly as possible for you. That way you can get the best result possible. So let's go ahead and talk about those. Step 1, and I would say the most important one, is to make sure that your soil is pretty well soft, soaked, and saturated. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean, your soil should be pretty well soft, as far as if you go to probe your soil with a screwdriver or a hand aeration tool, whichever you prefer, whatever you want to do, is when you go to probe your soil, those tools should slide in with ease. You should not feel like you're having to jam and put all your effort and weight into getting the screwdriver or the hand aeration tool into your soil. If that's the case, if you feel like, oh, this isn't even really going down at all, you need to soak your lawns more, meaning you need to throw more water onto your lawns to soften up that soil. The last thing you want to do is go ahead and try to aerate hard, compacted soil. Trust me, I've been there. It's not fun at all whatsoever. And since you're already trying to aerate your lawns, you're already creating damage there. So the last thing you want to do is try to aerate with hard, compacted soil, because what's going to happen is, yeah, you might get some cores here and there, but what's going to happen is when the aerator machine goes to obviously pull cores, you're going to try and pull cores, and at the same time, you're going to be pulling grass and ripping grass with those cores. Trust me, it's not a good time. Like I said, as you're already aerating, you're already creating damage. So the last thing you want to do is create more damage and more work for yourself by ripping grass out at the same time while trying to aerate. That's what you don't want. So definitely make sure, again, that your soil is definitely well saturated, soaked, and pretty soft. Now, what I don't mean is go ahead and just flood your lawns with a bunch of water. That's what you don't want to do. The last thing you want to deal with is disease, obviously, before you go ahead and aerate as well. You don't want to have that headache either. So the thing is I would definitely make sure you have a pretty decent watering schedule. If you have to water every day or every other day, make sure you're throwing down enough water at least 2 weeks to 1 week leading up to your top dressing project. Again, while you're soaking your lawns, make sure to do the probe test. Take a screwdriver, take your hand aeration tool, and double check certain areas that might be compacted compared to others. Double check those as well too. Make sure everything is pretty well soft and ready to go for when you go to aerate. Because trust me, once you go ahead and you have soft soil, aeration is a breeze. It's going to go a lot smoother, and it's going to be less of a headache for you, and you're going to create less damage when aerating. Now moving on to step number 2. Once you feel like your soil and lawns are soft enough to go ahead and aerate, step 2 is to obviously go ahead and aerate your lawns. Now, if you are renting an aerator like I did, in my case for this video, I rented an aerator, the first thing you want to do before you even put that aerator on your lawn is make sure you clean the aerator before you use it and put it on your lawns. The reason I say this is because, number 1, you don't know who used that aerator before you. You don't know if it was even cleaned before you went and picked it up. Number 2, you don't know if there's other debris as far as weed seeds or other grasses left in the hollow tines of that aerator. The last thing you want to do is put an aerator on a nice lawn, or I should say your lawn that you're trying to make look really nice, that has a bunch of leftover debris left in the tines. You do not, absolutely do not want to do that at all whatsoever. So make sure you clean the aerator again before you even allow it to go on your lawns. What I did, and honestly I should have filmed this part for you guys, I essentially took out my power washer, took some degreaser and a wire brush and cleaned every single tine, made sure it was spotless before I even allowed that aerator to go on my lawns. Again, since I'm trying to have the nicest lawn I can make possible, I don't want to be introducing other stuff into my lawns that's going to make it more of a headache for me down the line. Again, introducing debris, introducing weed seeds or other grass types into my lawn. That's what I don't want. So again, if you are renting an aerator, make sure you clean it before you allow it to go on your lawn. Moving on to step number 3, which I would say this step is optional depending on what you want to go ahead and do with your specific lawn. But step number 3 would be to go ahead and clean up the cores. Again, if you are choosing to do that. There are some people who like to go ahead and once they aerate, they like to go ahead and take a rotary mower or something else to go ahead and grind those cores up and go ahead and throw them right back in the lawn and keep them there, which is totally fine. You can do that for sure. But in my case, since I have hard compacted clay soil already, I don't want to keep that clay soil really in my lawns. So that's why I decided to go ahead and clean everything up. So again, step 3 is optional, I would say, depending on what you're wanting to do. If you're wanting to keep those cores, grind them up and keep them in the lawns, you could do that. Or if you're like me, you have hard clay soil and you're trying to get rid of that as much as possible, then go ahead and clean up all the cores, get them off your lawns. You could take a rake like I did in the video, pile them up, rake them all up into a pile and then pick them up with a scoop shovel or any other regular shovel and go ahead and dispose of them. Or you could even take a leaf blower, blow them all into a huge pile and pick it up that way too. There's definitely multiple ways you could go ahead and do it. But again, step 3, clean up all the cores. If you want, it is optional depending on what you want to do with your lawn and kind of what you're trying to achieve. Okay, moving on to step number 4. Now, at this point, if you got all your cores cleaned up, that's good. If you chose to keep them in your lawn, that's fine too. But step number 4 would be to go ahead and, if you want, put down a granular fertilizer. The reason for this is because obviously since you went ahead and just aerated everything, you now have holes throughout your whole entire lawn, which means is if you go ahead and throw down a granular fertilizer, that fertilizer is going to get broken down a lot quicker, and it's obviously going for the most part directly into the soil since you have holes all throughout your lawn. Now, obviously there's still going to be some granular fertilizer sitting on top of the grass here and there, but for the most part, you're putting down a lot of fertilizer in those open holes that you just created with doing the aeration. So again, it would be a perfect time to go ahead and throw down a granular fertilizer. And you would do this before you do the next step, which would be your top dressing. The reason for that is because you want that fertilizer to obviously be going to the soil. That's the main part. Because even when you go ahead and put down fertilizer on top of your lawns, that fertilizer obviously takes time to break down, work its way through your grass / your lawn, through the thatch, everything else, and then into the soil, then to the root zone. So when you go ahead and throw down the fertilizer before doing the top dressing, you're obviously fast tracking that fertilizer directly into the soil. So it's gonna break down a lot quicker, it's gonna get to the root zone a lot quicker, and it's just gonna make everything go essentially like fast tracking it to give you the best results possible. And the reason why you wanna do this too is you obviously wanna give it some, nutrition, everything for it to grow through when you go ahead and top dress, which will be the next step. Step number 5. Now, as I stated earlier, step number 5 is gonna be putting down your top dressing material. Now, obviously it's gonna differ for everybody. Some people like to use certain material over others, but this is gonna be your top dressing step here. So whether you're using compost, whether you're using a topsoil, whether you're using just sand, or whether you're using a blend like I did and using a sand and compost mixture, you're gonna be putting down material either way. So if you're just wanting to obviously level out, smooth out your lawns, you're probably gonna go with sand. If you're wanting to add more organic material into your lawns, you're probably gonna wanna go with more compost. Or if you're just trying to, get some organic rich soil, you'd probably be going with some sort of topsoil or something along those lines. So, but again, step 5, you're gonna be spreading out material and doing your top dressing. Now, what I will say is, when you're spreading out your material and you're leveling out everything, if you're, addressing some low spots here, fixing some other undulations you wanna address, or whatever the case is, when you're doing that and you're putting down material, make sure, and I also included this earlier in the video, is make sure you leave it to the point to where you still have grass blades poking through the material. So let's say here's the material line, here's the grass blades. You want to still have some grass blades poking through that material. The reason why is because you do that, the grass is going to want to be encouraged to grow through that material. If you cake it on, and what I mean by cake it on, meaning if you just take all your material and just cover your lawn to the point where you see no grass blades at all whatsoever, you're just creating more of a headache for yourself. The reason why is because number one, it's going to take a lot longer for your grass to grow through all that material you put down. And number two, you're just delaying it even more to when you can go ahead and obviously get back on and mow your lawns. Step number 6. This I would say would pretty much be your last and final step, is once you've obviously gone ahead and top dressed all your lawns, is make sure to go ahead and continue watering after you have top dressed them. The reason why is obviously you want to keep that material that you just put down, keep it moist. That way you don't run the risk of it kind of burning the top parts of your lawn. And number two, you obviously want that material that you put down to start settling and working its way deeper into the grass canopy and encouraging that grass to again keep growing through that material. So step number 6, again, to make sure you keep watering after you have top dressed. And yeah, that would practically be your entire step-by-step process of how you want to go about aeration and top dressing your lawns. Alrighty, you guys, well, that is pretty much it for today's video. Went ahead and basically showed you guys the whole entire aeration and top dressing project that I did here on my lawns here in the front yard lawn. I did do the aeration part here in my backyard lawn. However, I still need to do the top dressing portion, which I need to get more material to go ahead and obviously do that. I do still have a little bit of material left over, but it's definitely not enough to do my backyard lawn. So you guys can expect, again, a part 2 of this video, me doing my backyard lawn as far as the top dressing goes. So you guys can keep an eye out for that. And then we obviously included here towards the end some key steps I think would definitely help out you guys who are wanting to do possibly your first aeration and top dressing project. Some key steps that I would follow to make sure it goes as smoothly as possible for you, and that way you just have a good experience when you do an aeration and top dressing project for the first time. Yeah, if you guys did enjoy watching this video, please go ahead, smash that thumbs up button for me. As I always continue to say, it really helps me out, lets me know what you guys are enjoying on the channel. After doing that, go ahead, smash that subscribe button down below and hit the bell notifications. That way you can get notified for when I upload new videos. Got my social medias in the description below. With all that being said, it's your boy C Pams. Peace out, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.